We like to put things in baskets and buckets and make sense of the world around us. We build lists that help us find order or connection or even joy. Building a ranked list challenges us to make decisions and sometimes difficult choices and priorities. To that end, our lists are also a reflection of who we are and what we value. We ask our guests to share a list with us. We will certainly learn more about that guest, and we might even learn something about ourselves. This is No Ordinary List. I'm pleased to introduce our guest today. I have Elena. Elena, welcome to No Ordinary List.
Thank you. Happy to be here. Excited.
We start out every show, we ask the person who's the guest, we ask them to give us a list of 3 things that are defining characteristics of them. So what do you got for us?
I'm a voracious reader. I have a job in the legal field, and I have started running, much to my dad's excitement.
Okay. Now, do you have a favorite book?
That's such a difficult question, and I feel like that's actually going to be a topic.
That's what the show is about. It's about difficult questions.
I have a different subject matter.
Okay. You're prepared for the other difficult question. We'll have you on for the book version of this conversation. So, are you ready to go? Do you think you're ready to do this?
Yeah.
All right. Let's tell our audience, all 5 of them. Let's let them know what is our topic today.
Well, today I'm very pleased to be giving my top 10 list of Taylor Swift songs.
Okay. And you've been a fan for a while?
Probably, I think she is the first superstar that I ever was a fan of. She's the first musician that I remember actively being, a fan of in a cognizant way. So I was probably 8 or 9 the first time that I listened to her music. And ever since then, she's been a running constant in all of my, Spotify playlists and things like that.
Okay, and so the big question is, have you seen her live?
I'm so glad you asked. Yes, it was magical. It was a Nashville tour for her Eras tour, and I have to give a shout out to my friend Megan because she's the one who got us tickets, and oh my gosh, you really came in clutch.
Where did you see her? Where did you see her?
Nashville, so in her hometown basically.
So Lainey, you and I had talked about the fact that you have a passion for Taylor Swift, right? And so I think early on, when I talked to a possible guest, I talked to them about their passions and about what things are meaningful for them, and that's the one that came up for you. What did you think when we first started talking about whether you would, dive into this person who you really are a fan of and try to figure out, 10 songs from a list of 300 or 500 songs, whatever that she does? What were your initial thoughts about that?
It was definitely daunting to take on Taylor Swift. I think in terms of my credentials for being allowed to talk about her, I think I've listened to her entire discography, which I think number one, you need to make sure that you know your music, know your material. She's also, she's been one of my top artists for a very long time. And to that end, I think a lot of people, she's the top artist for them. But for myself in particular, I think I'm a really good candidate for this because I'm just like everybody else. I'm a big fan of hers, and I think that the perspective that I give really resonates with what she writes about, the typical experience for young women going through these things. Maybe she's had some atypical experiences, but the best metric of a Taylor Swift fan is maybe not necessarily somebody who is exactly like her, but somebody who relates to her music. So as somebody who definitely relates to her music, it was interesting to kind of decide how I was going to determine my top 10 choices for this huge list of, her discography.
Well, and I've been working on a list of the 500 greatest songs of all time. And so it was in my DNA because I wanted to ask you about your list of music, because that right now is what I'm working on. So, and as I think through each artist, I think about which songs are important to me and which songs are important to history. I thought it was challenging, but narrow it down to one artist was part of a gift, but it's also a challenge when you care about that artist too. So,
but it felt like I was choosing my children. I was, I'm picking favorites. Oh my gosh, I can't include this one. Ugh.
I'm in the later process of trying to cut some of the last songs out, and it is like cutting out children. So songs that I love or that I think are great, it's hard. But I think that idea of seeking out a list or seeking out a ranking is really important. And I think it's a challenge that I really relish, and so I'm so glad you've joined us today. Are you ready to do your list?
I think so, unless we have any outstanding items to address.
No, we have cleaned up. We've got the housekeeping in here already early. They're all good to go. And
Perfect.
what we do on this show is we start out with number 10 and we work our way to number 1. So without further ado, Elena, what is your top 10 Taylor Swift song?
Number 10 for you today is a song off of her folklore album called Peace. And it is one that I think is really good to start off with because it goes into a little bit of the difference of navigating being a celebrity and being a person and a person who, is in a romantic relationship with someone, as many Taylor Swift songs are about. But I think she goes at it from a very poignant way. So it's my number 10 pick today.
Oh, so is it an early or a later song for her?
Later. She's been through some of her life. She's kind of come to peaks of
Okay.
stardom. She's valleyed. It's a more nuanced take.
Okay. All right, let's move it on to number 9. What do you got?
Number 9. I feel like the bottom of my list is going to make people think that I'm a really sad person, and I promise that's not true. Number 9 is going to be a song from the sister album to Folklore, Evermore, and it is the song Right Where You Left Me, which is about as happy as it sounds.
Okay. Oh man, that sounds brutal.
It'll get happier, I promise.
If you just tuned in, you've joined Sad Songs with Elena. So we're changing the title of our show.
It's a different list.
Well, very cool. All right, let's move on quickly to number 8.
Number 8, and this was not planned, but I think it's nice the way that it ended up, is the song August, also off of her Folklore album.
Okay.
But I think it fits very aptly.
Okay. And all right, so August is a person, time of year. What is August, the song?
It's probably a metaphor if you ask Taylor, but I think that in the context of the song, it's about the passage of time, but it's part of actually a trifecta of songs, and people refer to the characters that she creates in the songs as the title of them. So technically August is a person, but I think she
Okay.
goes by Augustine, if I'm correct.
All right. Well, you're learning more. I'm learning more about that song. I have to give it a listen. So we get to number 7.
We are burning through these numbers. Number 7, we're getting a little bit happier. A song from her 1989 album, Out of the Woods. It's still a little bit sad, but much more upbeat. She refers to her more upbeat songs as her glitter gel pen songs, and that's what we're heading into.
Okay, I wonder if the Rolling Stones also have glitter gel pen songs. So
We'll have to
I'll have to
ask.
ask Mick the next time I run into him. So that brings us to number 6. We're almost halfway through. This is almost midpoint. What do you got?
Wow. Okay, so my number 6 pick is Death by a Thousand Cuts, which is a sad song, but it's got happier music to it, which makes it a little bit antithetical. But as those who love to listen to Taylor Swift know, she is our, argumentative, antithetical dream girl. So it works out.
Okay, very good. Now we reach the top half of the list that Elena brought to us today. We're talking about Taylor Swift songs. So number 5.
Number 5 pick. This was a tough choice because we're now really getting into the nitty gritty of the list. But I chose I Bet You Think About Me, which is actually a song off of her re recording of her Red album. It's a lengthier song. It's a little bit more acerbic, I would say, than some of her other songs. This is coming from a time when she was really mad at one of the guys that she was dating. But she really gets back at him in a very fun country way. And so while it's maybe not the song that people would associate me with, I think it's a lot of fun to sing in the car.
Okay, very good. Number 4.
Number 4 is a song that I hold very near and dear to myself, and I think this is a little bit more of a niche pick. It is New Romantics, also from the 1989 album, very much a glitter gel pen song, and I think it fits very well with the period that I'm in my life. It's about kind of being young and making mistakes, but continuing on anyway, and isn't that the way that the world goes? So, very big fan.
Okay. Big 3 coming up. Number 3.
Okay, so these top three choices I don't think are going to be particularly surprising to anyone. I feel like you can't mention Taylor Swift without these top three songs,
Okay.
which is why, of course, well, I do think might be a little surprised by the order, though. So my number three pick is All Too Well, but the 10-minute version. And this was really big for the fans of Taylor Swift. So she came out with a version that was 5 minutes long on her album Red. And then when she did the re-recording of all of her masters, she came back and did the 10-minute version that she had kind of teased through the years to say, hey, you know
Okay.
that song actually was 10 minutes long originally. And so she released it to the people to say, this was the version that has all 10 minutes of everything that she has to say. And it is such a good song.
So 10 minutes is a long time in recordings. So what about that spoke to you? Is you know both versions, I assume.
Yeah,
So,
well, and it's interesting because, so I have a very close friend, Megan, who's the Swiftie, and she and I both laugh about how one of our other friends actually has never lived in a world without the All Too Well 10-minute version because she never listened to the original one. And of course, Megan and I, we were fans before, we've listened to that song. I think the interesting thing about the 10-minute version is that it gives her more time to kind of delve into more of the things that she wants to say so she can have, the little codas in the middle of it, or here's an extra bridge here, and here's another verse that kind of fleshes out this idea. So I think it just gives her more room to play with. But as you can imagine, it's not something that you can do with every single song that you ever create. It's something that's specific to, hey, this is going to be a 10-minute song. It's probably going to be the only one in her discography. And I think it makes it really unique and special and is kind of a masterclass in her storytelling.
big question, did she do it in concert?
Yes. So when I saw it live, she had to be very selective about what she was choosing because while it was, a 3-hour concert, she's got over 300 songs. So how do you choose what makes the cut? And so for the Red era, so she kind of walks through all of the eras, as the name might say, she ended up singing the All Too Well 10-minute version, the whole 10-minute song, start to end. And I was just in awe not only of her ability to sing a 10-minute long song, but my ability to sing along to a 10-minute song.
I can't. I can't imagine. Like, there's a Who song that I know that's like 7.5 minutes, but I don't know any songs that are 10 minutes, except for like Alice's Restaurant, which is 20 minutes or something like that. So
Well, an American Pie, I mean, there's just only a
yeah,
few
but I don't
songs
think that's
in-
even more than 7 minutes. I don't think. I'd have to look it up. Maybe
Yeah.
we'll find out from our producer whether or not that song has
Put a note
length.
somewhere.
Well, that's a good three. What's going to get to number two for you?
So number two, this one is a little bit more of a sentimental pick. It's apparently I just really like long songs, which I didn't think was true about myself. There were a lot of short songs that I had to cut. But
Sure.
the number three choice is Enchanted, and this is a song off of her Speak Now album, which was really important to me growing up. And I think this song, it was supposed to be the thesis of the album. She actually wanted to name the album Enchanted. And it's all about kind of the rush of falling in love and all of these wonderful things. And I think that it really is just magical. And I think that that's what she wanted to capture in the album. And her producers wanted her to change it to Speak Now, which I think is a good choice. But Enchanted has always held a very special place in my heart. So it has to take my number two spot over All Too Well 10-minute version, which some people will have opinions about.
Okay, I got you. All right, big drum roll. We could afford drums on the show. We'd have drums, but and we are near the Memphis Drum Shop as our home. But let's have it. What is your number one Taylor Swift song?
I think this comes as a surprise to very few people, but my number one pick is off of her Fearless album, and it is You Belong With Me. This song is so incredibly important to me. I think it's the song that got me into Taylor Swift, so it had to be my number one.
I think it's a great pick. It's the only Taylor Swift song I've ever sang before in public. I did it in karaoke with one of my former students. And so for me, it's a special song too. I didn't know that, but that's just cool. So that's a song that I just love, and it actually speaks to me in my place in time. So so we have some follow-up questions when we do the list. So how hard was this?
Oh my gosh, up until 5 minutes before I got onto the podcast, I was still moving things around in my ranking. I mean, it felt like I was maybe in the NFL draft because I was really just trying to make decisions strategically, like, oh, I haven't included anything from this album, like, this had a really strong showing. And ultimately, at the end of the day, my favorite Taylor Swift song is going to be always the one that I'm listening to at the moment. And, I think it's wonderful with her discography. There's so many songs that there's pretty much a song for anything that you could ever be going through. And so it just depends on what's going on in your day.
So let me ask you this. Did Taylor Swift change your life?
I think so. I think that Taylor Swift, the great thing about her, even if you're not a big fan, I think there are still songs that you've probably enjoyed by her, and that's something that can become kind of a connecting point for a lot of people. And so having the ability, you walk into a room, if there's kind of a younger woman or, somebody who just seems like they might be a Taylor Swift fan, there's something that you can talk about. And that was really important for me, starting my new job and making friends in school. So I would say, yes, she's changed my life.
So did you have an 11th song that you're sad was left off the trailer and couldn't make it onto the top 10?
I think that might be a whole new list. I think that if I tried to talk about all the songs that I had to cut, we would be here for another episode. So have me on for a follow-up and I'll give my, second list of Taylor Swift.
We could have gone all Spinal Tap on you and had we go to 11 instead of 10, but to me, I wanted to focus on 10. And I think one of the challenges when you make a list, you have to think through, like, if you like doing it, hopefully you found some joy in making the list, because it shouldn't be a chore, but it does ask you to make some choices and some decisions that are affected by your time and day. Did you find that to be kind of the case while you were making these picks? Would it change tomorrow? Could you have a different list?
I think so. I think part of the difficulty too in knowing that I'm creating this list not just for my own personal enjoyment but to share is that there's kind of the idea of the perception of my list and people who are going to have opinions on it, but it's my list at the end of the day. So deciding maybe this is a very typical choice. The All Too Well 10-minute version should be on pretty much everyone's list. I don't have a lot of the deep cuts on my list because that's just how it worked out.
Sure. No, I get it. And I think it's, the idea of this show is to ask people to kind of bring up some personal stuff, but also kind of focus it and be forced to make some decisions about something that they care about. And that can be challenging. So, but you did a great job. You're actually our first ever guest, so you're going to be a tough act to follow. But Elena, thank you for joining us today. And I hope that you learned something about yourself and hopefully something that you can share with your fellow Swifties and talk about as you move forward. But thanks for being on the show. And
thanks for having me.
Tune in for our next guest. We'll have a guest on soon, and we'll have that show. But thank you, Elena, for being a part of it. And we'll see you next time on No Ordinary List.